Jesus said, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. Look at the early church fathers, look at the text itself. It looks as if there are certain spiritual battles that will not be fought until you conquer King Stomach. Because what are we doing most of the day? Come on, I'm not rebuking, I'm with you. Getting up, getting up, getting up. Eat, 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 eat. Anybody eat dinner and they're still hungry a couple hours later? Last week I told my wife to hide the chocolate because that thing calls my name at 11 o'clock at night. I can be full, I'm fine, I'm satisfied, and a couple hours later, hello. Hello, remember the chocolate barks dipped in peanut butter? And right, it's controlling us. Got to get my Starbucks in, got to get my cinnamon buns, all the fast food places are packed. Every time I go shop for vegetables and produce, there's no line, there's nobody. And if I gave this like 4 out at the first service, but if you need help in this area, I've got a free book, Feasting and Fasting. Ask the ushers for it on your way out. They'll get to Feasting and Fasting. It talks about this. But I truly believe some of the older manuscripts don't have it in there, but God allowed it. The early church fathers talk about it. And he said, this kind does not come out except by prayer and fasting. So it appears that there are certain spiritual dynamics sometimes that where we don't know exactly how it works, but sometimes you're going to have to put some weight into that, put some punch into it. And it's not just feeding King Stomach all day and listening to the flesh and led by the flesh. As you deny that flesh, deny that impulse, the end result of that, as long as it's done with the right heart, not legalistic, the end result of that is less of the flesh, more of the Spirit. Less of the flesh, more of the Spirit. And you're probably seeing that nowadays. Fasting is very popular, is it not? No matter where you're looking, OMAD, 1 meal a day, intermittent fasting, 12-hour, 14-hour, 16-hour, autophagies, brain-derived neurotropic factor, mTOR decreasing. All these things, all these guys are into the health and fitness. But it's biblical. It's biblical to take a season and say, God, I'm going to give up this desire for a greater desire. Could it be that breakthrough is waiting on you? You're waiting on God, but could it be that he's waiting on you? Listen, I don't want to go Joel Osteen on you, but there's a truth to that. The breakthrough's right around the corner. 5 steps to financial prosperity. I don't believe that, but I believe that some things are held back because God is wanting us to go deeper. God is wanting us to pick up that weapon of our warfare. God is wanting us to push in and to contend for our kids who might be caught in sin and to just pray for them and to take that season to do that. This kind does not come out except by prayer and fasting. Ezra said, I'm going to fast unto the Lord as I take the people to the promised land. Esther said, if I perish, for I've been called for such a time as this. Wait, first call a 3-day fast. David fasted before the Lord. Moses fasted and received the 10 commandments. Elijah fasted. Jesus fasted for 40 days. Paul said, I was in peril and in beatings and in much fasting. Jesus said, when you fast, not if you fast. The bridegroom is here. Do not fast, but when the bridegroom is gone, my disciples will fast. Folks, I believe that's one of the missing jewels of the Christian faith. I first read about it, obviously, in the Bible. I skipped those parts. So that's for the Old Testament. Every time I saw that, I'd skip the Old Testament. I'd skip and say, that's for the Old Testament. Why? Because I was raised, many of you know, in the fitness industry, got to eat every 3 hours, keep the metabolic rate going. You'll lose muscle, and you got this wrong thinking process behind it. But I'd see it all the time in the Bible, and then I'd read books on revival, right? 1700s, 1800s, early church fathers, Savonarola back in Italy in the 1200s, Wycliffe, Tyndale Huss in 12, 13, 1400s. And man, what are they always talking about fasting for? David Brainerd ministering among the Native Americans in his journal in prayer and much fasting this week, and the Spirit of God fell upon the Indians. John Wesley, Whitefield, Jonathan Edwards was on a 3-day fast when he delivered the most famous sermon in American history, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. And I would see it all over, and I was so convicted. And like many of you, I postponed as far as I could. That's for them, not for us. I think it's for us more than we know because we are actually more addicted than they were. Do you know why fasting's hard? It's because you're coming off of addictions. It's not the fasting itself. Your body was designed to stop the glucose and the glycogen from the carbs and go right into fat storage and burn ketones. It was designed that way. Your brain loves ketones. Your energy, your ketones. But I can't come off my sugar and my flour and processed foods and all these food colorings and MSG and partially hydrogenated oils and all this. Do you know that there's like, and I don't want to, well, maybe I won't say the name of it, but there's certain fast food establishments that are Christian. They have like 50 chemicals in one of the sandwiches, and you gotta have it. They have scientists that try to, so you guys, this is an addiction. So I see so many people never fast because their addiction, they think it's the fasting. Give up the addiction and fasting will be much easier because it's a natural process for the body. I didn't say easy, I said much easier because you're not coming off of things. But sometimes God gives us his grace. And I know people, I just ran into a guy last week, he said he's been fasting for 3 days, just water, and it feels pretty good, not sick. I'm like, well, praise God, that's not normal.